Hey everybody, welcome back to the Build Show Network. Steve Basic Architect, and I'm on site down here at our Spring Valley Aero project down in Columbia, Missouri. It's a project that was built by my good friend Jake Bruton. He's also on the Build Show Network. Go check out his videos. A lot of fantastic stuff there. But today we're going to talk about big sliders. And as you know, I'm a huge fan of the Schuco brand or Macrowing brand. I use them quite often in my projects. They're triple glazed. But the beauty of them is that they will build almost any size, and we can play around with fixed versus operable. Now, you can see behind me here, we have two very large doors. These are 14-footers. They have an 8-foot fixed panel and a 6-foot operable panel. They're a lift and slide. Notice that they converge on the corner. So the idea is that the TV goes on the wall over there. All the furniture is being able to be placed in the room. And we'll go back to the studio and we'll take a look at what I planned for. But there's this kind of assumed corridor that runs down the back of the furniture. From the kitchen, dining space, and living space, we get beautiful views out to the backyard. We get beautiful views off to the side yard and courtyard here, but we don't go walking through the living room to get there. We walk through the living room, but not the actual living space where we're interrupting somebody watching TV. We have that kind of assumed corridor that we come down. So again, 14-foot door, 6-foot panel. It's a lift and slide, so when you rotate the handle, notice that the door comes up on wheels, and then you're able to just slide that. You can pretty much lock it anywhere in place by basically just dropping that. I mean, this panel is probably on the order of 400 to 500 pounds. So again, rotating it, puts it up on the wheels. You can bring it out. If you have a dog or kids, the beauty of these is you can leave that open a couple inches. You can lock it down. Nobody's moving that door, but you get that ventilation. You can get screens for these. But again, the beauty of these Schuco doors is that everything is built to order. They're a triple glazed unit, right? 3 pieces of glass. And with that, you can see here, it carries a U factor of 0.13, which takes you in like the R7.5 range. But the other nice thing is it has a VT of 0.71 to carry that. So visual transmittance is basically how much of sunglass is the glazing look like? Like how much does it shade the view to the outside as opposed to clear glass. If that was 1.0, it's basically clear glass. But in most glass, when you get down into that 0.13, 1.5, 2 range, that VT goes down to 0.5. But here it maintains that 0.71. Saint-Gobain, who is the IGU manufacturer for Schuco, just does a fabulous job engineering their glazing units to be put in these doors and their windows, of course. But you know, if you're looking for kind of that statement in the corner of the room, nothing says it more than 2 14-foot sliders that open up out of the corners. Let's go back to the studio. We'll talk a little bit more about what we talked here, and we'll check it out. Hey everybody, welcome back to the studio. Yeah, I'm back up here in Boston. Hopefully you really enjoyed that. Those 2 sliders are just pieces of art within themselves. So let's dive down. I actually printed out a copy of the floor plan here. We can talk about some of the thoughts that went into using those sliders and some of the decisions that were made there. So let's get at it. Took the part of the floor plan here, extracted it out of the drawings. So you can see we have both lift and slide doors here, there. And then we have the second one here. All right. We shot the video down here in that great room. Notice that the great room and kitchen are attached. So we have a nice big kitchen island here. And we also have a staircase here that was
behind the video. And all these things, believe it or not, play a role in the decision-making process of these lift and slide doors. So we talked on the video, remember this was a 14-foot slider, and this one here was a 14-foot slider. The beauty of having these made by Schuco, and people like to call them custom made, but they're really not custom made. Schuco windows are made to order. They don't have any stock sizes, so they just have a whole bunch of stock parts that they then cut to make these up. So one of the beauties of that made to order system is that not only do we get to choose the size of the slider being 14 foot, but we get to choose the parts that actually move versus the parts that are fixed. And so here you can see I chose to come out of this corner with that door and this door, and the two panels are fixed there. And those are 8-footers. And the operables were 6-footers, as I mentioned in the video. But given that this is a 20-foot wall, and these are 14s, then obviously we're left with 3 feet on each side there. And I think this one we tightened up to 30 inches. Remember I said how the stairs and island play a role, but also how furniture gets laid out in the great room. So there's a couple other components of this that all work kind of in a systemic fashion to provide success to the whole area. So on this wall here, we had a couple tilt turns. So it was assumed that the TV would probably go on this wall here, and then that leaves you for a couch there. It leaves you for some couch seating there, coffee table. If you wanted to put a chair over in the corner, you certainly could. But what I'm really driving at is when you start setting up window placement sets up furniture placement. First furniture placement then sets up traffic patterns and circulation. We talked about the island. This has somewhat of a galley kitchen here, right? So we have a bunch of cabinets there and here. So when I look at the plan now, before I even decide on where the operable pieces of the sliders are, I look at what are the traffic patterns? Where are the areas that, people are moving? So at the very least, people need to get to the stairs. So we have that as a potential traffic pattern. People need to move between the kitchen cabinets. So we have that one. We also have this assumed corridor. So you can see things are starting to shape up as far as being able to maneuver around this house. So we have those areas moving around the island. We have the ability to go up the stairs. We know the TV was there. Putting this furniture in leaves us another assumed corridor down along this wall. So what I'm driving at is this one here, this slider here, it could have very easily have been operable here and fixed here. I just chose to make it that so when you look down in this corner, those panels were the same. But this door here, looking at the traffic patterns, it certainly makes a lot of sense that as I divide this, you can see what's happening here. This, the operable panel, feeds potential circulation. The fixed panel feeds the sitting area, so you get the view out. So there are some decisions, and the fact that the 3-foot and the 8-foot versus 6-foot there, having that 8-foot panel really starts to set up what the view from the center of that great room is looking out. So I tell people it's one thing to sit there and you can look at a floor plan, and I guess a lot of floor plans are very generic and you just say, okay, I fit all the furniture in, end of story. But a really good functioning floor plan understands how are people moving around the space, where is the furniture located, what is the view out, and then how do I capture that view out, right? This one here, there's that 6-foot slider, but that's really to just flood this area with light. And I would argue that this door here plays kind of a supporting role to the primary door here. And I would call that the primary door for the reason of giving the view from the great room, providing access out to the backyard. But the other important thing is when I breach into the great room space or this great hall, whatever you want to call it, and I stand here and look in that direction, I don't really capture that door because of the stairway. But what I do see is I see this 14-foot door occupying the majority of that 20-foot wall, or from the inside, 19-foot wall, right? So that one really becomes the focal point in understanding how to lay out the room and how to set up all those decisions. So it's not just, hey, we fit the kitchen in, we fit the dining room in and living room space. Let's just throw some doors over there. Oh, they need to be operable. No. All great decisions are intentional decisions, right? They have a little bit of thought behind them. So even something as simple as a plan and laying out where the different operable panels go on a slider, there should be a little bit of thought behind it. And that thought is definitely tied to the success of the spaces. So anyways, that's this week's video. Lift and slide doors, why we did them, how we did them, and the reasons behind it. So, all righty. All right. So, first order of business, put Big Red back to sleep. Second of order of business, just hoping you like that video. Those Schuco sliders, certainly works of art. Everybody, I don't think I've ever put one in where somebody said, I don't like it. Everybody's always oohing on over them. But anyway, thanks for joining us. If you haven't checked out any of my previous videos, I suggest, hey, go back, check them out. While you're going back there, check out my colleagues. You got Matt, Jake, Wade, Brent, all turning out some absolutely awesome videos there. So check them out. Really good content. For other places you can find me, every other week we drop an episode on the Unbuild It podcast. That's where Peter Yost and my good friend Jake, we drop some knowledge on building science there in podcast form. So look for us there. That's the Unbuild It podcast. And then lastly, you can find me on Instagram. That's Stephen Basic Architect, trying to drop some knowledge there every day to help out the building industry and generate some discussions so that we can all have a better day at the end of the day. So until next time, I'm signing off. Long live our buildings.